You often hear of writers' strikes in Hollywood as a result of screenwriters in the film industry being maligned, underpaid, excluded, and always undervalued. Their counterparts in the music industry are the songwriters. At least in press junkets, you don't hear actors saying they wrote the script, whereas you will often hear pop stars with zero musical knowledge claiming credit for the songs on their latest album or single.
And I do want to ask you about this because I'm curious about your songwriting process.
I started writing for this album in 2021, and I just wanted to write my ideas down. And
this book contains all of your thoughts, your lyrics.
Kimmel does try and give Dua Lipa a way out here by highlighting this diary is just notes and ideas, maybe even lyrics, rather than sheet music or musical compositions. But no, she goes back to saying she wrote every song.
It's got every single song I've written for this album. And
how many?
Really, I wrote 97 songs.
No wonder you don't have time for corn dogs. Wow. 97 songs.
Yeah. And only because I have this, it's now become kind
Although
of
what
this.
Lipa is saying is dishonest and disingenuous, she could get away with saying she co-wrote some of the songs, due to that fact that music publishing is archaic, and that 50% of the rights go to the lyricists. It's crazy, really, particularly within the pop music genre, where lyrics are generally an afterthought. As a catchy pop song nearly always becomes a hit because of its composition, vocal melody, or beat, not because the listener is hearing, "Ooh, baby, I love you" for the 1000th time.
Does Dua Lipa play guitar? I don't play guitar, but I used to play the cello in school, and then I got bullied about it a lot, and so I quit, and now I can't play anything.
The second I write a song, I know whether it's good or not, or whether it's close to being good, and then I would rework it. And every song on this album, unlike any of the other records that I've made, like I've gone in and I've rewritten it over and over again until I felt like it was perfect.
Yeah, sure. In truth, Dua Lipa, or any of her peers, past and present, couldn't write a song if they were left alone in Abbey Road studios with a gun to their head. If they loaded up a new project file on Pro Tools, it would be by accident. The reality is a former model like Dua Lipa is a product. If Warner Music could use a cardboard cutout or an animated idol, they would. There are an army of songwriters, producers, and vocal coaches which tell the product what to sing, where to sing, and even how to sing it.
Beginning. I went in with my vocal producer, Lorna.
I just got that melody.
Mary Poppins Queen. Mary Poppins Queen. She helps me visualize emotions. So there are certain parts, although they're sad, she's like, sing it with a smile.
Goddamn, you got me in love again.
Yes. And the chorus, which to me I think is more of a chant, I guess. It was a da 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 da.
And that's pretty much the extent of her knowledge of music theory or songwriting. These people are completely controlled by their record labels. It's most likely that Lipa's PR people told her to push the idea during the press tour that she was mainly responsible for writing her album. She could have always said no, but then again, it's not up to her. Charlie XCX, who does have a hand in the production of many of her songs, even creating elements or samples for other artists, once shared ideas which her record label had sent her. These suggestions from her employers included leaking a sex tape and stealing things from a store so that the resulting CCTV footage could be newsworthy. These major labels have no qualms about humiliating their artists in exchange for sales. People often ask, what happened to...
Did the cheeky girls disappear and then come back as Jedward?
The answer is usually they didn't make the company enough money, or they said no.
Your joke, you see, number 3 sort of laughed in a way that showed that she was maybe not used to having jokes made.
Of course, it's not always the case that a non-musical person cannot help create great music. There are rare exceptions. Take the Manic Street Preachers' 1992 masterpiece, The Holy Bible, for instance. Known mainly as the band's guitarist, Richey Edwards had no musical knowledge or even any interest in learning. In fact, he was so bad at playing guitar in the early days, his amp would be unplugged on stage, and he would be left to mime along for the rest of the concert. Yet, he was pivotal to the Holy Bible's critical success and its cult status today. As the primary lyricist, he gave the Manic Street Preachers' best album its depth and intellect. And as the band's architect, he pushed for a darker and unpolished sound, shaping the direction of the sound and overall aesthetic during this period. Richey's sister Rachel said her brother was a writer and artist rather than a musician, or God forbid, rock star. Along with the lyrics, he would create collages and the band's record artwork. The band rejected their record label's proposition to record in Barbados, and instead chose a small, dingy studio in Cardiff, Wales, working long hours with only a sound engineer, no producer, and completing the album in 4 weeks. During the recording, Richey would mainly write, sleep, drink heavily, or cry. Yet the album sounds nothing like the releases they made before or after he disappeared. Even when the Manics returned to Richey's discarded lyrics in later albums, trying to recapture their glory, they never came close to achieving the sonic individuality of the Holy Bible. The 13 songs which made up the album were all originally essays written by Edwards. A voracious reader and fierce intellect, Edwards adapted each of these essays into lyrics, which his bandmate and chief songwriter James Dean Bradfield could integrate into his songs. The lyrics worked on different levels, taking cues from political history and social issues such as crime and prostitution, consumerism, British and American imperialism, freedom of speech, genocide, mental illness, the death penalty, political revolution, all entwined within theology, philosophical concepts, and extremist ideologies such as fascism and communism. Although many of the lyrics were written in the third person, from the perspective of a young girl struggling with anorexia, or a prostitute, for example, Edwards filtered all these ideas through a contemporary lens, which ultimately reflected his own personal struggles and state of mind. A far cry from the type of lyrics the masses are spoon-fed over the radio and TV, even to this day.
Lavender Lamborghini, roll up in a blue bikini. Bitches on the beaches looking super cute and freaky. All my friends are princesses, we keep it whipped and creamy. Ice cubes on our tongues because we like to keep it freezy.
It's so cool, especially like when you work so hard on something and you put so much love and time and effort into trying to make something really special, and to see like your peers liking it. So we were watching it, and then I just felt really compelled to be able to have like the lyrics really merge with the dancing and what was happening in the scene as well. So we like really fine-tuned it every little moment. It's also like a moment where it goes, turn the music up, and they're putting their hands up, and it's just like little bits like that, little details that I think made such a big difference.
Wow, you told Ronson to turn it up? That is genius. Here you go. Have a Grammy.
Dua Lipa.
Every single song I've written for this album, and
How many?
really, I wrote 97 songs.
When the football teams made up of songwriters and producers who have been churning out hits for Universal Records or Warner Music's latest Barbie or Ken eventually run out of ideas, they take inspiration from other songs or artists. This eventually leads them to court. It can be a Pyrrhic victory for the original composers and authors, as they must face the corporate Goliath of major labels, film studios, and their shark tanks of expensive lawyers.
Do you want to raise my prices? I'm paying Spotify $17 for a family plan. Do you want me to pay more?
Well, I think you can pay more.
The artists can end up losing the case, along with the profits derived from their original work. And of course, a massive legal bill.
Just a few minutes ago, word that the WGA reached a tentative agreement to end the writers' strike that has lasted 5 long months.
But tonight, WGA members received an email saying a tentative agreement has been reached between the Writers Guild and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, praising the striking writers for enduring the pain and uncertainty of the past 146 days and calling the deal exceptional with meaningful...
It's only a matter of time before we see an end to writers' strikes altogether. Not because people have stopped buying the glossy product in defense of the maligned authors, or that corporations have suddenly found a conscience. It will be thanks to the dawn of AI, its rapid infiltration on creative industries, and the inevitability of their replacement. The writers may have won the latest battle, but in the war to use evolving technology to increase profit margins, defeat is inevitable, as there is one human behavior which you can never stop.
Hell yes.
In the meantime, it would be so great to see pop stars stop taking the credit for songs they didn't write.
It's like whatever I wrote on the day was pretty much what everyone heard, and now this time round I'm like much more confident myself as a songwriter and as a performer and how I want things to be and sound and look, and so I just went in.
Richey Edwards may have had the audacity to have written, "I am an architect, I am a pioneer. I am stronger than Mensa, Miller, and Mailer. I spat out Plath and Pinter." But he never took credit for writing the songs.